Hey everybody, welcome back to Contenders China Season 3. We are now in week 5, the final week before playoffs, and this is the last game of the day. It's going to be LGD Gaming versus BTRG. I'm your host, Gio. I'm joined, of course, by my lovely analysts, LaFon and Scribe. Now, guys, these two teams, they've had a really rough time this season. They're arguably the most affected teams by the Overwatch League pickups for 2019. How would you say that has affected each of these teams?
I think so it turns into a lot of identity fighting for both these teams. I think LGD for Mercer has definitely been like harvested in terms of Overwatch League talent. I think Gushre, right? Obviously, that's like the most notable name that's disappeared. I think losing Eileen also is relatively big. And then should I guess Shy right now playing on, I think, X6 over in Korea. That's obviously a loss that's been missing. But in terms of impact that's really been applying towards the LGD brand in total, Shochang and Internal have just not hit I guess the highs that we've seen last season from these DPS players, and they've kind of ended up being this weaker link that is available. Of course, the meta does cover that up somewhat, but even that versatility that they had before is something that they're definitely missing here.
I mean, of all the problems to have, though, that's kind of it's kind of one that's tough to complain about. Wow, our players all went to higher gameplay, right? Like, oh, what a struggle. I think for LGD that we can kind of talk about how the main tank issue kind of forced their hand, because one of the things that we saw from LGD last season, as Goucher especially, is he took a lot of resources. We saw that through the regular season, obviously in Contenders, and we saw it through World Cup on the Chinese team. One thing that I think affected LGD most is that their DPS players were switched, and one thing that happened is that LG used to put a lot of resources into Gushue specifically, and then the DPS were still able to perform with fewer resources. Something that isn't really that common in other teams. You often see the DPS players get the most resources. So for LGD, they've had, as Scribe mentioned, to change basically their identity and try and restructure restructure their DPS players in that sort of situation. So in short, it's almost like they've had to relearn how to play as a team in not really that long of a time. So uh yeah, it's been tough for them, but they've struggled a bit, but they've still done a pretty good job, I think, overall.
It's been a pretty big ask, but Tontio, who's Gushue's replacement, he's had 5 weeks to prove himself. He's had these big shoes to fill, but he hasn't quite lived up to what Gushue left behind. Do you think he can finally turn it around today, or is it maybe a little bit too late?
I mean, that's a super hard thing. You're asking for who is effectively an Overwatch League main tank to fill the shoes of a player of that caliber. So, um, uh, do I think he's going to reach the same highs that Gushue did? I don't think so. I think that's a really tough thing to ask of him. What I expect though is a solid. I would expect for him to have a solid performance today. And look for a consistent gameplay from the main tank. That's really what you need at this level, especially. So, perhaps not the same highs as Gushue, but I would expect at least a more reliable performance.
I'm actually even going to piggyback off that, and I'm actually going to push it even towards the BTRG side of stuff, right? Because we haven't really talked about them as much, but they've lost a lot of big talents to Overwatch League as well. I mean, Vanessa obviously leaving, Jinmu leaving, and even MG leaving the lineup from around last year. So it's kind of like this is an era where we have a lot of brand new things like Reborn, Liga. I think both of these players have almost I think they have even smaller shoes to fill in some sense, but even then, they have not looked nearly as cohesive. And I think that's just an overall cohesive storyline here, right? We're seeing a lot of these brand new tank lines coming into the league, and whether or not it's because of the difference in meta, where tank centric play is just so of a sudden just more important than it has been in previous seasons. This is kind of the big one we're seeing. There's not a lot of great synergies behind these tank lines. They're doing a lot of distorted stuff. Sometimes your diva player is just not in the right place it's supposed to be, and that it completely exposes itself in a 3-3 goats composition where tank play and synergy is so important.
Well, looking over to the DPS on the side of BTRG, we've always looked at Effort. He's been this standout player for them, but last week he actually seemed to struggle a little bit. So, I mean, what happened last week with that, and how important is his performance going to be today?
I think what happened last week is just I think teams are finally trying to figure out what effort's really good at, and I think that we have seen slowly the tendencies of effort to start switching back into that hit scan roll if he gets uncomfortable. I mean, we did see this like super McCree composition being rolled out, and that's stuff that effort loves playing, but at the same time it's suboptimal play, and he's really being pushed to do it.
I mean, one of the we had a chance to go over his gameplay last week, and I think one of the struggles, just to finish up quickly, is that effort. It almost, as Scribe said, he just wasn't comfortable on what he was supposed to be running, and would go back to the comfort pick. He has to grow out of that. You don't have the time to spend on learning or on working on old things.
Well, it's important to note that whoever loses this series will be facing the loser of the Team CC versus T1W matchup. So this is a big game for both of these teams, but we will be heading straight into Ilios as our first map. So I'm going to hand it over to our casters, Blank and Richard, to take it away.
Yes, indeed. Hello, as we are going to get this underway again. It is myself, Rich Red, along with Blank, tuning in with you for this third and final match. And I won't be roboting at all, I hope, here moving forward. Blank, how you doing, my friend? Got yourself that little mute bug there, unfortunately. Just going to grab you. You know, it's okay. We're going to switch off here. It's going to be myself first, you know, in the first match, and then we're going to now have the other.
Wait, you at some point during a broadcast, you always gotta mute yourself because it is the number one key thing to do. 3 seconds before we start here. LGD versus Big Time Regal Gaming. This could be a close one. I mean, LGD, like I was just saying, have been good a little bit, but they've got some good players on the team. And Rookie, someone we've been looking out for, a great Diva player overall. Tensio, all right as well. But Hammond coming out from Big Time Regal Gaming immediately.
And Reborn going to get a lot of damage in the back again with that Wrecking Ball, getting very high damage onto them with that Discord Orb just going to be placed immediately. And already that early stagger here coming out on the side of LGD, having to be careful as Big Time Regal Gaming just doing a great job really forcing them away here. And again, it's going to be one of those exciting matches between the two since they do have, you know, a very important matchup because they really want to try and place themselves against these teams moving forward into the playoffs as they do claim this first control point.
Yeah, we saw this earlier on, right? A team trying to play. It's Goats composition, there's diving Goats, but Big Time Real Gaming seems to do a little bit better with it right now. To be honest, Reborn's actually creating so much space, which is why LGD Gaming do make the switch over McCree. He can cancel that power driver mid-air with a good time flashbang, which is why you're seeing Reborn try and stay out the way, but immediately D-Mech comes through.
And that was just such great play coming in by Shocheng on the high ground with that McCree play. Now going to have the minefield dropped onto the point, needing to be careful, but the Transcendence is going to come out to mitigate a lot of that minefield with the Graviton now going to be unleashed by BTRG as it now gets a follow-up onto both the tank and support, taking them down. No more ability to really stay on that point since they've really just forced them back once again and have a really good stride right now.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing from BTRG. The positioning was pretty perfect as they came out of that. Hammond stays out of the way, prevent the flashbang coming through. There's a projected barrier popped onto him in the beginning of that fight as well, to ensure he does get that off as they try and make the rotation. LGD look a little bit lost here to play against this, and I think it is just superior positioning coming out from Big Time Regal Gaming. Few ultimates from either side.
And that Deadeye's going to come out, but really, again, not gaining much value, nor is it going to really zone. You see the sound barrier coming out on the side of BTRG now with the self-destruct high overhead from both sides, trying to use it again to get those early picks. Not going to gain too much out of it, but you do see Secret getting a nice pick here on the back onto BTRG, just taking out that Diva, but still, they're just already about 80% into this. They're going to have to really start to force onto this point and potentially losing the opposition of their positioning, and it will be looking like it's going to be a back cap, though. Oh, almost able to do it, but not going to be able to and having to retreat there.
Yeah, they kind of needed Tensio actually to hold that space and that angle. He was looking for the back cap, did not get it through. Gudan popping off all this game. I think that's his 4th kill of this game. Well, confirmed. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, 100%. BTRG looking very, very strong right now, and I think it's down to just a commanding presence during this entire game, deciding where these fights will happen, deciding the battlegrounds, because they're winning all the footsie battles so far. And I think it's tough for LG to move in. They made the switch on the comp. Obviously, you've got Shocheng on the McCree, doesn't really do much, and now it will be BTRG moving over to this Super McCree composition we've seen before. This is just about getting the McCree into position, getting that Discord Orb down, getting the massive amount of damage in, and it's going to work extremely well against LGD Gaming because the majority of their win condition is making a successful dive onto BTRG. At this point, you get the dive in, it's immediately met with a flashbang and then a couple of bullets to the face. So it's not a great time for LGD. So you're probably likely to see a switch as we come in here if they do lose the first fight.
And we saw some effective play with this earlier as well on using that Super McCree as we've seen it now with that positioning in the back. Here comes the dive, trying to see if they can get that early damage onto Effort, but having a hard time locking him down in the back as they do get the picks, though. It will be LGD breaking this defensive anti-dive combination. The McCree still doing a decent amount of work here, Effort, but it's already just been done. LGD just forcing them away right now.
Ooh. I don't think he was expecting that one. Like the model just comes
No.
right around the corner. Threads the needle. Not bad. I think LGD there, I think they choose their place to fight very wisely. It's within that right room with the mini. It just creates so much space for Eternal just to swing the flail and get a load of cleave damage through, as well as the Tesla cannon. So I think that's very, very smart by them. And I think BTIG, they need to decide on where they want to pick these fights. So they do make the switch off. They move off the McCree now. Understanding maybe they don't quite have the positioning to do it on this map. At this moment, LGD look like they're pretty happy with how they're playing. There's Discord already on the Zarya, so they want to get her down quickly, and you can tell.
And they're trying to force them into that choke point here towards the center as they want to try and strafe by slightly, but not going to be able to do so. It will be the rally coming out now by LGD on that outer position. Also going to have the Primal Rage, but not being used just yet here, as the Graviton will be unleashed. Not going to gain too much of value, but they at least gain one support out of it. Again, that's a worthwhile value, gaining that kill out of it and making it still worth it, as they still have 4 ultimates going to be coming up here shortly.
Yeah, they got the quad. They got the quad going for them. I mean, both support ultimates up. You got both tank ultimates up as well, as apart from that Graviton. I think this is looking pretty okay for them. The rally is technically still there. I mean, the armor is still layered underneath those shields. So Secret and Shochang both can be very, very difficult to eat through them. It's every game coming back to this one. They don't have a Graviton, but they have a few ultimates around. There's a very, very scrappy fight coming ahead of us right now.
And they're in this tight position once again underneath the lighthouse. Gonna force out the Transcendence. They have the self-destruct. They're potentially maybe gonna use it here once that Transcendence is reaching its end. Is gonna tuck it under, hoping to dodge out of the way. Not gonna gain any value out of it, but again, zoning them away with that sound barrier, looking to give some great assistance now as Shochang gets the kill here onto the back line of the Zenyatta. 85% and going to continue climbing if they cannot manage to turn a numbers advantage here on the point. Still about even, it looks like, with the Graviton coming out and gonna lock down the Primal Rage. Self-destruct gonna gain as well onto Shochang, so they do get rid of that Zarya play that has been done very well in the front. Effort now also having 100 energy to completely vaporize on the side here of LGD, getting pushed off the point. One last member to buy a few more seconds as they get to 99 and finally change it back.
Yeah, and I think the main thing we'll look out for here is the discipline coming out from LGD Gaming. They should use everything else, but they hold on to that Graviton, which they will be using as they come into this. They know both supportive ultimates are down, so really, at this point, big time Regal Gaming, sure, they want to play together, they want to play as this cohesive unit, but they've also got to play sparse to counter out this Graviton, so they're really, really stuck in this situation, so they're looking for Liga to eat this. Where are you going?
And they have a swift movement in the back section. They will land it, not going to have it eaten, so they at least pull a few members in, but I think they could have gotten a little bit more value out of it if they held a little bit longer in the back. Now trying to get that assist onto the support, forcing out the Transcendence. That's a great push here. Getting that assault in the back, able to force it out early as they're at about 40% and still doing a decent amount of John sustaining through this. But there is going to be, I believe, the environmental kill here coming off the edge, barely surviving. But no, now the numbers advantage going in favor of LGD as they are able to withstand the incoming aggression. And now it will be the last overtime aspect where they're just going to look to try and keep on this point and stall it as long as possible to hopefully get back here with the respawn.
I don't think they're going to grab this one. I mean, that's pretty much done there. And then these are just like last-ditch attempts to get back to the point. And I think that all comes off the fact that whoever it was, be it Eternal or be it Hoyo Qian, one of those players did actually boop Effort down the well. Goodbye to them. I mean, Rookie could have done it as well, but we just don't know because we didn't have the observer angle on it. And I think Effort going down so early in the fight is why you saw the rest of LGD pull the trigger so quickly. They're like, okay, Zarya's out the way. We need to win this fight. We need to win it fast. So you whack down the Graviton. I think it's absolutely fine whacking it onto Winston, but unfortunately he slips out the way. But you do catch the Brigitte. And I think talking to Brigitte as well as Rich, Eternal. We saw him in the first week. We cast him in the first week, right? This guy is a monster. He plays so very well. It's difficult to get past him. And that just means his backline's even more open than it would normally be.
And again, you know, like you said, from the very first introduction weeks, we've seen that type of play, and especially going into this map of Ruins, I could swear that we've seen it once before already, and the dominant play here is going to be very relevant for us. Again, going to start this off on that high ground for the Bridgeway to see who can get that early pick to try and get the advantage early with the Discords going out and trying to transition it onto the opposite side here, getting a nice backline flank and hoping to get Tank Chi on the front as they are looking to maybe get an early pick here.
Yeah, moving forward, Tanchi. Dropping towards the front line, but Liga and Reborn already taking names.
And they do get a massive just group of LGD just shutting them down, not able to really do anything with it, and just taking this point very swiftly with no real contest, to be honest.
It's some decent rotations. I just don't know why they pushed BTRG so hard. I mean, you had a great position there. Secret was on the high ground, on that classic place where you do see Jonak from Overwatch League set up all the time because it is so safe for Zenyatta there. Instead, they forced the issue, right? And BTRG are very happy to oblige.
And they're going to try and be, again, very careful. They're not wanting to become over-aggressive, but that is a great pick by Secret. Going to make an even exchange, though, taking a tank for a support here as they have that high amount of energy coming out by effort on the side of BTRG on the right-hand side of the screen. As you can see that they already have 28% and continuing to climb. Almost about to have the Graviton, the Rally, and even the Primal Rage, and gaining that Transcendence with the Graviton maybe going to be used here. Is going to be on the front, but it will be eaten, I believe, by the D.Va player. Once again, crucial pick here to not prevent them from getting so much pressure on it. With 45%, it's still managing to keep going, but that energy is just so high by effort right now.
Rookie's been playing like a madman during this entire regular season, but right now on the point, it's just an absolute bloodfest right now. It's a massacre. Everybody's going down. Ultimate's been thrown out left, right, and center.
And the Transcendent's going to come out two in the back, trying to sustain through this as they manage to turn it back around, finally gaining the numbers advantage, getting the picks that they needed through it all, and especially, like I said, like that rookie grab on the grab was massive.
It was, yeah. I mean, Rookie basically wins that fight for them because you see BTRG, they want to clean up that fight. They want to close it down, so they drop the grab there, understanding they don't want to use too many more of the support ultimates. Rookie understands that they want to clean it out. They want to finish this one quick, so he knows there's a timer on it, so he perfectly positions himself ready for the D.Va Matrix and the Graviton. But it doesn't really matter because Reborn's already found himself another grab. Shou Cheng's barely towards his right now, 73%. So it's tough, right? Shou Cheng's just out. I mean, Reborn's just really showing up in this situation.
He really is. And I mean, with these ultimate advantage in favor of disadvantage of LGD here on that left side of the screen, it is going to be 42% still climbing. The Graviton now going to come out self-destruct as well. Can they get enough to defend against it as the Transcendence is going to come out, managing to give some with the shield in addition. BTRG doing a great job trying to gain some reinforcements here, but I think too much has already been done for them to really stabilize through it as they continue to get the picks here by LGD, and Rookie wanting to follow up here in the back line, and that's going to be a lot of harass.
And you say stabilize, and I think that's one thing that, yeah, sure, BTRG are unable to stabilize in that situation, but man, LGD restabilized so well. And the way that they use the support ultimates is so very smart. They're staggered out one by one, and now that rally goes off towards the end of the fight, and again, they all have that armor coming through. I just think the moment BTRG are just giving way too much room for LGD to breathe, right? So Shou Cheng's already found himself that Graviton in the last fight before he had a deficit.
And they had that self-destruct go high in the air, but again, not really gaining anything. Unfortunately, it wasn't close enough in between the runes that they were able to survive through that explosion, as they're going to be forced back once again, but they have the Earth Shatter from LGD, so they do need to be very careful of how they look to approach this on that high ground on the upper right position, as the Transcendence is now actually going to lead them into this. Wasn't really forced out. They want to just use that to try and engage, which is a little preemptive, and now you're going to see LGD have the advantage. Now starting to have so much sustain with that ultimate Earth Shatter to come through on the high ground, 99 to 59, as that is going to be LGD looking to truly secure this. And that's the support management right here that you were just talking about earlier. You see the rotation of the support ultimate benefiting them as a whole, and also not being the one to pop it early when they feel that they need to lead with it, when really they should use it after they start getting the fight underway.
I think BTRG, they look pretty strong towards the beginning there, and they just kind of get fizzled out as they go along. LGD start to understand their game. But the main thing for me at the moment is on BTRG, there's not really any one standout player on there, whereas on LGD, you've got Eternal, you got Rookie, and even that last fight, right? Reborn goes for the Earth Shatter. Rookie, you got Eternal. Yeah. He's right there. He cancels the Earth Shatter before it actually goes down. Reborn's pretty much a sitting duck as he gets stunned and he's taken away. And they were banking on that Earth Shatter being big in that situation. Reborn puts himself in a weird situation anyway, too close to Brigitte, in my opinion. And yeah, he gets punished for it. So I think these high skill cap players being able to cancel ultimates and sway it in the favor of yourself is really what's taking this to the next level. I think this is actually the sweet mortar kill. Yeah. Nice replay. I like that one.
Yeah, looking at some of the replays.
Oh, there we go. That's the one we wanted to see.
We are going to go ahead and just take one more brief break here, as we will see if LGD is going to be able to keep this momentum against BTRG, or it's going to be BTRG starting to reevaluate how they're going to maneuver forward here into this next match. So we will be back in just a moment. Hello and welcome back as we are about to get into our second map today, and it is going to be Hollywood. Going into this, we saw Nubani before in our first match that myself and Blank were able to cast. Going to get a little bit of a variation in the map selection, as you will see if LGD is going to be able to maintain this composure moving forward, and how BTRG is going to handle going into this map. How do you think they're going to be able to adjust going forward with them selecting this choice?
I think Hollywood is a smart choice for BTRG. I mean, Effort is like, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, this lad, and I mean, he has a lot to live up for. I mean, sometimes he plays really, really well. Other times he's a bit inconsistent. But I think it's anywhere that he can shine, it's definitely on Hollywood, which does enable lots of different compositions. You can't play free as much on this because there is so much high ground to contest. And Reinhardt and Zarya, they don't have any flying abilities unless like you point that rocket downwards on the Reinhardt. He's not going upwards anyway if you press that shift button. So I think this is an opportunity for Big Time Regal Gaming to show what kind of DPS they have going for them. And Reborn just going to Sonic Arrow this. Check them out what they're playing, but they go over to free just for this first point. You're ideally going to see a switch come point B.
And yeah, like you said, I was going to say that arrow going to come out quickly with that Hanzo. As now they start to maneuver forward. BTRG going to look to try and maneuver to potentially that outer left-hand side. No, they're going to actually take it to the front right now, as they might look for the flanking position around the outer side. But you do see the Boop coming out to try and reposition them on this side. So they're now kind of caught in a rock and a hard place right now. Bash on the front, getting the displacement, and they're going to have to force a retreat right now. Their entire tactic moving forward has been completely brought to shreds.
This is a very confusing initial push, right? That was actually a nice charge from Reborn. Unfortunately, Shou Cheng does have the self barrier up and available there, but I don't understand. So they have speed boost ready and available. You lose Liga, who is honestly probably one of your best players in the team, right? So you should just disengage in that moment. Instead, they opt to stay within. There's a cheeky shield bash coming in from behind here, which could open up for Tensio with the Earth Shatter, which it does.
And they do have so much energy coming out here for Shou Cheng, looking to see if they can get that grab just around the corner, managing to get it into the pillar of the archway as they want to just completely press them back. Self-destruct will get one, since the shield was not able to completely cover the entire team, now forcing them back, keeping the Earth Shatter. Not going to drop that just yet. They want to sustain through it, and they will actually get the pick on it, though, as now they look to try and fight back with the sound barrier leading the way. Again, as we said, seeing if they can try and gain some benefit here in that exchange, but having a difficult time doing so. Rally going to come out again by Eternal, giving some great buffer here for the team of LGD on the defensive side, as you still see Rookie on the back line looking to get damage behind that shield, as they will get the pick onto Reborn. That was that positioning that was very difficult for them. They really just let Rookie in the back just get so much damage onto them.
Yeah, I don't understand that. You got to make a decision in that situation. I think so far, Big Time Regal Gaming, really their main issue is hesitation. They're unsure of where they want to go and at what time they want to do it. And Tensio goes down on LGD Gaming. There's a completely free Shatter there available to them. Again, Reborn goes to Shatter, gets it cancelled, immediately dies afterwards, and then they're getting caught out by these things again and again.
On the car, just pulling so many together. There's the Earth Shatter, since they were too far in front of the shield by Reborn, unable to gain that protective barrier to sustain through it as they reset once again here, and still gonna have 3 ultimates, going to be 4 here very soon with that sound barrier. And again, as we said earlier, the rotation of these ultimates and just utilization of space is so well done by LGD.
Now you will see LGD start to back off a little bit here. They don't have an Earth Shatter. They don't have a Graviton. They won't have an Earth Shatter because the last Graviton was so effective that it didn't even give Tensio enough time to even swing into it. So now they will have to back off. Effort does have this grab. You know Rookie's going to be looking to eat this one.
Self-destruct on the high ground, but since they did lose the mech, they are going to exploit it, managing to take that Q and put it up in the air, as now it will be the sound barrier on both sides trying to withstand the damage. It will be BTRG having the later end of it, as they do get the pick here in the bash by the Brigitte, but still another double kill going to come out for the Brigitte player, as it will be still LGD dominating on this. They had the great opportunity with that mech going high into the air for the self-destruct not to eat the grab as they used it, but couldn't gain anything out of it, really.
I swear that all the lucky stars just aligning for Big Time Regal Gaming, only 20 seconds remaining for them. The bomb on the high ground from LGD Gaming pops their bomb down into the grab unintentionally, and then also Reborn gets out, but instead, you know what happens? We just get our own Brigitte to whack him into position.
And that inner position of the wall, managing to get the grab as they're trying to turn it back around, but they are so under at this moment. Self-destruct again, high overhead, trying to see if they can get one. Manages to get effort on the edge of the corner. Can't even believe that countered his sightline here as they're looking to try and charge back to see if they can try and regroup against it, but so much pressure has now been put from LGD, the sound barrier to secure it, as they will knock this entire team of BTRG having a full hold on Hollywood right now.
I mean, we say full hold a lot, right? We swing that phrase around, but that is the definition of a full hold there, right?
Yes.
0 ticks, 0 points, 0%. You're done. Okay, now it's time for LGD to swing their fists around, see if they can make it through. And they're looking to play something much more dive-centric. They want to get into that backline almost immediately. And I don't know, man. Like, there's so many things happened, and it made it so easy for BTRG there to push in, to make a play happen, but they just are unable to make it work. And it does come down to hesitation, and I think target focus is a real problem for them right now. You see Tensio, he's on the sidelines, right? He's battling against MZ right now, and MZ's on the corner. He's given the entirety of LGD a little bit of jip right now, but what happens is Tensio goes, oh, I'm having some trouble with a Brigitte over here. So what happens? The entire team swings round, Eternal goes for the Brigitte, MZ dies. You just don't see that coordination coming out from BTRG, and I think that's the main problem I'm seeing right now. Is just coordination is lacking in a big way, and if there's any way they can bring it back, anywhere they can show confidence in their coordination, it's defending a full held point A.
And again, that communication is so key. As you said, Tenshio, having that complete knowledge of knowing, hey, I really need help right now. The team will listen instantly, being able to respond quickly to make sure that they can, you know, fully function as a team to really counter against MZ, who's done very well on the front to contest against him. As we're going to now see a Sombra play coming out here by LGD just to see some inside vision of what their composition is, as they're going to now look to revert back to pretty much a mere composition here. Yes, indeed. Yes.
LGD gaming, they know they have to mirror this, right? Because you're going in versus a Reinhardt. And you know what? I'd mirror it as well. They know that they can play this free composition better than BTRG. Already Reborn's taking the brunt of the damage.
And they're seeing if they can try and just still regroup. They're playing very cautiously, which is one of the benefits to them right now, as they're just coordinated very well with this move forward, as they are getting a little low, having to try and generate some health here as they're looking to get that first, almost able to get the pick here onto BTRG, taking out that front line tank, managing to do so. Reborn going to go down, but now an even exchange. Both Ryans are down. The energy is high. Shochen getting a lot of damage in the back, trying to get that Graviton, as the rally is going to be unleashed here for LGD Gaming in the back, as they have the sound barrier as well, overlapping a little bit of ultimates, but it's not going to matter. There's the Graviton, transcendence from both sides, self-destruct as well, looking to get another here, taking out the support player, picking them off slowly but surely, as this is going to be now LGD looking to just push the remainder of them off the point with the Earth Shatter, knocking them down, and that is going to be the rest of BTRG getting forced away, as Hollywood will go very swiftly to LGD.
Speedy Gonzalez Gaming, that's what I like to see. They move it on in. Andale, get it done faster. It's his final week. Get it out of the way. All right, I'm pretty impressed, honestly. At the end of the day, I think that was very well played. And this is the thing, right? And I say at the beginning, there's this point in time, LGD know that they play free better than BTRG. You see the exact same combination laid down in the exact same place. Who comes out better of it? It's LGD, of course. BTRG were just not managing their own shield and their own barriers well enough, and in that situation, Shocheng just has his available, layers down the barriers, keeps him alive from the self-destruct, despite there being no Reinhardt there. So, all in all, very, very well played. Impressed by what I'm seeing from LGD so far.
And, you know, I know our analysts are going to take that same dive into this just overall gameplay that we've seen and how well LGD has coordinated as a whole, and really going and just demonstrating that better GOATs v GOATs play right now. So, Gio, you can go ahead and take it away.
So we have 2 maps taken by LGD, and we actually have a similar situation here to what we had in our first series of the day, which was that kind of false hope on our control map, where BTRG, they took the first point, but LGD came and swept and took it away from them. So let's walk through this. I want to know how they managed to take that off of BTRG.
I think the big one comes down to kind of the team competitions that really did come through. I think it comes down to Effort himself being less comfortable on Zarya in some sense. But this is also, I think Zarya is very essential to the composition. I think you absolutely need one to have when it goes, especially if you plan on blowing through shields and having a lot of damage on the field, apparently. But Effort has this weird feeling where I feel like they really do like the McCree just because of that little bit more of a mobility, the flanking style that you do see, you do tend to see on well. And LGD takes advantage of that, right? Shocheng immediately starts getting off to a big lead, especially on Zarya. And I think this is kind of where LGD was able to snowball it back. I think that their understanding of, we just need to play a 3-3 composition, push them as far as they can. And we know that right now it looks like someone like BTRG not looking super comfortable in this tank role. A lot of their tanks, when they were under pressure, start slipping up.
I think that's something we talked at the outset about Effort too, right? We kind of criticize his Zarya play, talking about, there's a difference between Zarya players and DPS players who play Zarya. I think this is one of the examples of it. Effort has looked, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but definitely shaky on the Zarya. A couple of Graviton surges wasted going wide, and then we saw what happened on Hollywood. It was not nearly as pretty as it could have been for BTRG. LGD, though, that you have to commend them for taking advantage of the momentum and continue to bring the series back in their favor. I think They identified correctly what they were making a mistake on that first map and just brought it all the way back, as Scribe said. They recognized where the gaps in BTRG were, namely the fact their tank line kind of makes a couple of missteps here and there, and there's definitely openings for punishment, and they definitely did do that. They punished right after it. So I think this is definitely a point of LGD here, I think, is the better team, and you have to recognize that coming in. But for BTRG, the drawing board, you have to go back to it like before the end of the series, because you don't want to go into playoffs with holes in your roster like this in how you're playing.
Well, what I'm really interested in then, as you were saying, there is this difference between Zarya players and DPS players who play Zarya. How come BTRG didn't bring effort out on like the McCree in the start? Because we've seen him on McCree a lot in the season, but they came straight out on Zarya.
I think it's a recognition of what's really strong. We saw effort last week still playing the hit scan, and he was really zoned out. Basically, I think last time on Numbani they played the defense, he had a diva sitting on him the whole time. Like he couldn't do anything at all. And I think he recognizes that Zarya is still very strong, and mechanically he's good at Zarya. It's not like, he's it's not like his tracking is terrible or something like that. He's got good mechanics, but and now it's a case of learning patience. Most of Effort's mistakes on Zarya don't come from mechanical misplays. They come from the fact that he's just too quick on the trigger, right? He'll use bubble too fast, and he'll cause his tanks to kind of suffer for it. Or there was one point on Ruins when he was throwing a Graviton Surge out. It wasn't even a pressured grab, and he just throws it directly into Matrix. Like, you have to make the enemy diva work harder for that eat. Like, it's such an impactful ultimate, and to just throw it away like that because you think you see an opportunity instead of really working for it is a mistake that Effort can't afford to make.
I think we need to give a big shout out to Hoyo-chan for his massive booping ability.
100%. I think this is like something we start seeing more, especially in these compositions, right? Is that especially Hoyo-chan and then Euterpe. I think these are two players who have started to use Lucio a lot more in the context of you don't always expect, especially as a Zarya, that there is another form of CC that could potentially come out, right, to move your Reinhardt. And I think that's kind of like one of the big changes that has happened is these aggressive Lucios who have these very strong angles, especially on Ghost compositions, right, where sometimes the checking process is a little like you kind of cut corners in order to just get there faster. So I think Lucio has a lot of great hiding places they can stall into, and more importantly, disrupting that, right, getting right into the face, right, making sure that when they're ulting, they can't even do it for free on that, right? I think all those movement abilities, all those boosts, I think that really plays a huge part. I think that is adding to the pressure that the enemy side has to really come down on. I think BTRG right now, their tank lines, as frazzled as they are, now have to worry about a third factor in there.
We take for granted sometimes the fact that Goats is a composition with 3 tanks, 3 supports, and therefore is kind of sustain heavy. But one of the things that most important about Goats is that every single person in the composition is very important. They all have a role to play, right? Zen has the Discord aura, Lucio has the speed boost, and of course the boop, the knockback, and then obviously the tanks have the tools that they've got. The fact of the matter is, though, is that LGD is taking the most from the Goats comp and using it. It feels like they finally learned how to actually play Goats properly. No one in their composition really struggling to be where they need to be. The Brigitte is always there by the Reinhardt. Shield Bash is almost always at the ready too, right? We don't see moments where sometimes you come in, the Earthshatter combo is just not there because the Brig wasted Shield Bash on something completely ineffective. I feel like for LGD specifically, some of those mistakes and timings are no longer a problem. It seems like they've actually learned why or how to use each ability rather into a much more coordinated Ghost composition. Whereas for BTRG, there's a bit of a misplay there. The Lucio amp is often in a little too early. They don't have the speed necessary to disengage when LGD is coming in for the fight. Or sometimes they'll go in with a Graviton Surge and there's no shield bash for when the self-destruct goes through. The timings, everything from the timing from the sound barrier to shield bash to self-destruct, nearly everything for BTRG is just that extra little moment too far apart. Whereas for LGD, it's a well-oiled machine. They're in there right at the right moment. And it's showing in the scoreline 2-0, and it's been pretty dominant so far.
Well, yeah, I mean, LGD made BTRG's life pretty hard when BTRG were doing their attack on Hollywood. But one person who was really causing a lot of his issues was Shocheng. He pretty much had a Graviton every time BTRG came back to try and take the point again.
This is a brand new approach, and I think that it actually is because of another player on the lineup. Eternal is a player that I think a few weeks ago, we would say was probably the more aggressive Brigitte. He plays very much in your face. He wants to instantly burst you down and try to fight this. We have seen him slowly disappear a little more from the kill cam, but in return, he's playing a lot more defense for Shocheng, right? We've seen Shocheng, he has definitely struggled in the previous weeks, but the big reason why he's doing so well is a lot of survivability, a lot of energy. We know he's an extremely aggressive Zarya. He's going to be be in your face. He's going to be using bubbles very greedily in order to gather energy. And now Eternal with that Brigitte in the backline, keeping him safe, make sure he stays alive. They're going to melt through their targets.
Well, we know that our next map is going to be Hanamura, so we'll have to see how these players end up shaping up in that. So we're going to take it back to our casters, Blank and Richard, to take us through that.
Yes, hello and welcome back as we are going to get into this next map, which is going to be Hanamura. And again, we've seen this one many times because it is such a, first of all, amazing looking map, but also because there is a lot of, early opportunity and some opportunity for variation. Again, we did see them go into that Goats v Goats composition, didn't really get the opportunity here to gain that advantage because LGD just playing it so well. And, with this opportunity onto, the defensive side or the attacking side, they're going to have a lot of variation, Blank. And do you think we're going to see that change because they need to try and break away from it, I feel?
Yeah, they do. I think really both of these teams need to find something. Well, not so much LGD, but I think in this situation, it will BTRG are looking for something a little bit different right now. I think they were struggling last two maps because they just didn't have the greatest of grasps. And I think Lafon pretty much summed up very perfectly on the desk there about what problems they were having and how they will alleviate those problems, as well as LGD, however. They're looking pretty scary to say the least.
And they have so much dominance just in their gameplay right now. It's going to be interesting to see how they come out now. But, it's going to be big-time Regal Gaming not really wanting to waver from this. And they're just going to go head-on into that mirrored composition once again to see how they're going to play on this map, seeing if they can maybe just have some favoritism here moving through this front doorway.
Yeah, and immediately they all go left, but they were waiting for him.
And they're going to try and get dominated here again. Already 20 seconds in, 3 minutes and 35 seconds to go, as it's going to be now just so much dominance coming out by BTRG now, actually, on the attacking side, utilizing that tight choke position. Already 3 minutes and 30 in, as it's going to be a immediate crossover now, as they're going to retreat back to that point, look to start gaining it, and they're going to have a decent amount of time here in the time bank as they look to try and just gain this momentum into the next point.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's well played. I think BTRG took that one. I like the idea from LGD is that they bait them by having someone sit on the high ground, so they all go right side and then immediately pop off from there. This is probably the way to go about it, right? But you force yourself into a 5v6 situation, and in that instance, right, you are always going to lose that fight because you're taking damage from the Brigida flailing, you're taking damage from mortar shots from the Zarya, and on top of that, you're also getting swinged away by the Reinhardt. So it's completely natural that they would lose that first fight there if they didn't find the immediate pick that they were looking for. I think that there is it's tough though. It's tough. I think they kind of deserve to lose that one because they didn't find the pick early enough. I don't think they had the damage available. I mean, I'm not sure what they're thinking because really in those situations, you need your Zarya to be higher charge to go for those sneaky plays. And I think really had to play a bit more vanilla towards the beginning there. So now we do have a pause, but there's also momentum available. Maybe this is a tactical pause. We don't know that they were like, okay, we will cut the momentum in half by just pausing right now.
We're gonna see if we can try and slow the momentum here, as it looks like we are gonna get it back underway, as it will be now just under 7 minutes for the team of BTRG to try and attack, as they're looking to see again if they can maintain that momentum. Rally gonna be starting with MZ as the Earth Shatter comes out in the back, trying to prevent them from keeping this momentum. There's gonna be MZ though, getting the nice pick here onto Eternal, who we've talked so highly about, as now you're going to see so much aggression coming out by BTRG, regardless of the respawn advantage in favor of LGD. Transcendent's now going to be forced out, trying to, again, just buy some time here, looking to maneuver them off the point on the defensive side, as they're going to still just try and regroup as quickly as possible to force them away.
Yeah, Graviton comes out now. Self-destruct on top. Not sure it's going to really find anyone. There's a nice barrier to save his life there. Liga does find Rookie as he drops out of the mech, but there's still members of LGD on the point, including Eternal, who's getting a ton of healing. Nano boost on top.
And they're just pushing him back now. They finally generated enough reinforcements here on this point, going to get Eternal back after that early pickoff. And they, again, now 6 minutes even. They've got a lot of time, though, to try and work this team of LGD down on the defensive position, generate some ult charge, and find how they really want to engage this.
But the thing is here is that LGD game, they have accrued themselves a Graviton. Now, this is actually huge because a lot of times you see teams lose this point is when they don't have anything to work with. I think mostly right now. You got a Graviton, which is coming in from underneath, and Shojang is great for this.
And the Transcendence, though, is going to be right there for it to make sure that they can try and survive, but unfortunately, they will lose one, having to fall back. They don't want to risk any more here, nor do they want to give any more ultimate charge here to LGD, as they are just looking to try and regroup, but they have some additional damage on the high ground, trying to sustain through it, as we are actually stabilized right now for the side of LGD.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. You get the Graviton out, it provides more time for the rest of your team to build up towards their own ultimates. And the big one, again, is this Earth Shatter. I think LGD Gaming have been so very, very good at cycling ultimates, knowing and understanding which one to use before a fight and recapping. So they 100% know that there will be a sound barrier here, so they're going to try and force that one out early. And then I imagine that they will use the Nano Boost to force themselves through the rest of the fight.
And they're on that tight position through the doorway, needing to be very careful about how they engage this. They're still maintaining the high ground, as the rally's going to give them an opportunity to maneuver down to the low ground with a decent buffer, and they look to try and have that rally on both sides. Eternal as well, going to use it. Earthshatter not yet finding the window of opportunity here, as these shields are holding strong, as they really are looking for a flanking position right now, completely cycled around, almost looking in the reverse position, as they do look to get that Earthshatter, landing onto only one in the back, but the sound barrier now going to come out by BTRG in the back line, able to give some great assistance as Tenchio gets some awesome pressure on the front here, but will get knocked down as the Graviton's going to come out. Do they have enough to try and force it away with a Transcendence to ensure that they will sustain through it, as the shield will get taken down by Rookie from that self-destruct in the back, as they now pick them off one by one, starting to have the numbers advantage. 4 minutes to go as they look to try and hope and just stall this out. Again, having the Wrecking Ball getting onto the point, trying to prevent them from getting here, as they're looking to gain one tick, wanting to gain the second here swiftly, as the timers are starting to still be in their favor. Can they get back onto the point, as the Diva manages to stall it a little bit longer? Rookie doing a great job holding for that last ditch effort for the team to get back onto the fight. With it will be Eternal along with the follow-up, but no, that is going to be so much damage. The reposition as well. Charge coming in back by Reborn, as they want to get the pin. Gonna miss it though onto Eternal, as the Bastion now is going to come out trying to break through the shield, but the self-destruct to force the reposition. Rookie gonna go down. They are so very close to it, wanting to just get these last few members off the high ground to try and complete it, but still they're continuing to hold it.
Well, we stay on the point even longer. Tenchio next. There was a far amount of opportunities. They could have actually taken this one, but that is a massive amount of time they've shaved off the bank, and now it's only 3 minutes, looking a lot less dialed than it did before. The big turning point, however, and I call this the beginning, where we use the Earth Shadow, right, and then immediately after, you can almost ensure that you are going to see the sound barrier come out from BTRG afterwards, and then you use the Nano Boost to push in through the rest of the fight. Now, that was the smart play. It counters out basically everything and gives you the extra damage you need. Unfortunately, Fengmian does everything right. I guess that's more fortunately for BTRG rather than unfortunately. Fortunately, Fengmian does everything right in that situation, boops the Reinhardt down off the side towards Mini. You lose the entirety of that effect of the Nano Boost whilst he's trying to make his way back on the high ground. In those few moments, Big Time Real Gaming find the picks that they do need and clean up the fight. So very well played to them. I think it's mostly on Fengmian in that situation more than anything, because he did really open it up for that fight. The rest of it was very scrappy, and probably, I'd say they could have actually ended that fight a lot sooner if they played it correctly.
Agreed. There was some definite lack of maybe communication or tying up loose ends in that sense, trying to close that out sooner than it was. But again, they do still have the 3 minutes and 10 seconds, which isn't something I think that, you know, is bad in the grand scale of things. Could have been much better, of course, with that momentum. Since they played very well at the first point, they were able to isolate LGD so well in that right corridor, where I even feel that LGD was caught off guard at how well they played that positioning and was able to get that early exploit on them and getting the pick.
Yeah, it was good. It was well played. I think Big Time Real Gaming, that's the coordination that we were looking for. It's the coordination we got. Still, the fights are still a bit more scrappy than I would like them to be. I think LGD, they have a lot to live up for. They are going to go for a quick switch off here. They have the Sombra for that scouting capability. You will get Eternal over to that Pharah. And this is something we were questioning last week, is that does he have any flexibility? And we saw him go over the Pharah on Route 66 and absolutely take some names. So definitely expect some big kills coming through from this guy right now.
Pharmacy composition moving very quickly up in front, but they do have that D.Va chasing immediately to try and cause some harass. Nice response to this by BTRG to get that sideline away from Eternal, but still just raining so much damage overhead, forcing them into this right-hand position where they are going to be tucked into a corner, as it's going to be now, again, LGD exploiting them. Just nobody able to truly handle that far play right now as they're getting the picks, though. But it's honestly, at this point, they're starting to ignore it. As long as they can keep that shield up high enough, it's going to get enough damage on the low ground as LGD gets that nice defensive positioning here, or offensive positioning here, to contest against BTRG.
They've also taken down Gudan, so there's no Discord up, so the Winston and the D.Va can quite happily come in here. You're almost 20% away from this barrage, which can clean up the next fight. You see him coming in. Shocheng's nowhere towards the EMP, though, but he will get it mid-fight, but it's not going to be there to almost supplement the barrage.
And the Rocket Barrage coming very shortly in the back, gonna sneak it, not gonna have that defense matrix available, gets the D-Mech and now wants the follow-up. 39 health, barely surviving as they do get the great engage. That positioning was not seen by BTRG with that Pharah play, since they had so much on the front to manage with the Transcendence going to be forced out. Looking to, again, force them away. They're still doing a great job here maintaining this point. They've only able to gain 1 tick for LGD as they're looking to hold a moment or so longer, getting very close. There's the cleanup finally that they needed, and now going to start taking it with the good 2 minutes here. Going to have a decent time maneuvering forward as they're going to take this and try and keep the momentum going forward with almost going to be 4 ultimates here.
Yeah, you have a lot to work with there. It's good, though, that Big Time Regal Game were able to have that fight going for so long, because it did mean that Shocheng was forced to use the EMP, but that also gave time for Eternal to build up towards this next barrage. With this Valkyrie available as well, it's going to be doing a lot of work to be able to escort this team in. There's no consistent shield here for the team of Big Time Regal Gaming to defend versus Rookie self-destruct either. There's a lot of win conditions available to them.
There really is, and that hack's going to come out, though, trying to bring the bird out of the sky, but still holding the high ground and able to get the follow-up onto effort. Great play here, regardless of the hack, as the Rocket Barrage is going to be used, but immediately taken down. The quick responsiveness once again will at least get the D-Mech, though, in the return. There's the follow-up by Tenshio on the front with that Winston play, as they're looking to clean them up even quicker here. Starting to get some massive momentum, trying to buy as much time, though, on the side of BTRG as they are starting to get turned around. The respawn advantage, as we saw on the defensive side, going to be opportunity for them, but here comes the damage once again. An immediate D-Mech, no self-destruct available for them as they're keeping them up into this high corner. Now they're just going to try and run the clock here and stall it out to try and keep an even score here for each team.
Well, there you go, 4 minutes 44. It's not a bad time bank. Big Time Regal can't make their way in. I think there was some insane hacks coming out from Shocheng that entire time. I also really like the patience coming out from Hoyo Chien. Played that Mercy incredibly well. The Valkyrie was very, very impactful towards the end of that fight. Created a lot of healing, a lot of damage boosting as well. And he waited. He waited until that Brigitte was out of position, until he went for the res onto Eternal, which just basically was the final nail in the coffin. Sent that coffin off for delivery. It was all fine, and 4 minutes 43 on the clock. Not bad whatsoever. 3 minutes 11. So it's about a minute and a half difference really there. So it's not a huge amount of time, but a minute and a half is definitely something that can change games. As we saw in our first match today, just 1 minute led to a draw on Hanamura versus a 6 minute time bank.
And here we're going to see Eternal once again going to choose to go on that Pharah play, which again, we've already seen some decent play with the combination here of the Sombra as well. Going to go something a little bit more unorthodox here, that 2-2-2 composition, as I'm interested to see if we're going to keep that 3-3 comp for BTRG. They've opted to do it already and probably going to keep it here.
Yeah, I really do think, though, that some person we have to highlight who is on screen right now, Rich, is Rookie. This guy's been playing so incredibly well. And you saw Eternal going on that first push, and he was the one to actually escort him in. He's playing so well. D.Va Matrix are well timed. They're creatively used. And Big Time Regal Gaming are very, very having a tough time going around that.
Yeah, and it's honestly one of those things that they really have to be aware of, especially with the grab usage. They have just seen such great stellar play coming out by Rookie, as now the engage happens on the low ground as they're going to get overwhelmed here in this choke. So much damage being funneled through these doorways by Eternal, along with the rest of the team, just going to isolate them away as they have to play very safe right now. Now the reposition in the back as well by Eternal, just now going to jump behind there. The damage, they can't prevent it. Overwhelmed on the high ground, and they're going to waste a lot of time on this upper position as they get picked off. Not going to have that Zenyatta for the Discord Orb either to give the additional damage. And now they're just really in a difficult spot.
Yeah, he almost has the barrage as well, which can basically finish this fight up. Very smart positioning from so far. In comes the barrage.
Ooh, the Diva Matrix, though, being able to get the shutdown once again, but bringing them out of it. There's the immediate follow-up as well as they do try and keep that play going. Tanchio doing a great job sustaining through the boop, barely surviving, as it will unfortunately be BTRG claiming at this point and gonna start moving forward with just under 2 minutes to go.
It's kind of sad, but also kind of cool as well, because in that moment you actually saw Tanchio whack big time Regal Gaming Fengmian off the side whilst he was ulting, so no sound barrier for him coming to the next fight. And we have seen a lot of these fights go over due to an aggressive ulti. And now LGD, they will make the switch over to the Symmetra and the Orisa, which I assume they're just going to use that to bounce the Bastion around and be really annoying.
Yeah, so if they can get him on that high ground position where it's going to be difficult to get to,
He's
it's going to be a
nano-boosted.
big benefit. Yeah, nano boosted.
Christ.
Oh, goodness, no real sightline either, so the nano's not going to gain as much value here, but the EMP comes out, self-destruct as well, maybe be able to get some, forcing them almost into the sightlines of the Bastion. Great job on the positioning. There's going to be the follow-up, getting the DMEC as they are just dominating on this back line and utilizing this Bastion to the fullest potential right now that we are so excited to see.
This is just... You get a pause again. Tanchio's like, we must keep doing this to really throw them off their guard. They don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know. Okay.
No.
We bring out the Bastion. They're like, oh my god, we got to think about a way to fix this. And then suddenly you got
pause.
Exactly. Now they're like, what do we do next? Where do we set the Symmetra Bastion next? It's a pretty awful composition to play against because it's very difficult to position yourself, and you're ideally trying to get into a sightline where the Bastion can't see you, but you're also looking for a sightline in which the EMP is not going to have great effect, right? Sure. And in that case, they decide we're going to go away from the Bastion, but we'll get EMP'd and self-destruct, which pretty much ends the fight anyway. Self-destruct probably wasn't as impactful as it could have been. I think there's definitely an area where Rookie could have thrown it into, but in the heat of the moment, I do not mind that too much.
And now we're going to get this back underway as we do resume. Will be still looking like it's going to be that Bastion, Symmetra, and the Orisa play. Waiting to see where they're going to position it with that potential teleporter. And as I said, on that upper right-hand position, there is no real way or access to get up there. So it's going to now be a lot of damage rained overhead that they're just going to have to rely a lot on the Zenyatta, essentially, and just the damage coming out by the Zarya from Effort.
Nice hack. Means that the Reinhardt's forced to go back. Reborn and Effort almost dead already. Effort really wants to get this grab off, but who's he going to grab in this situation, right?
And they're in such
now
a
we just bomb them.
Yeah, and they're such a tiny position that they are just locked away in, and now the tank form is just going to deal so much damage overhead. They need to do something, but he falls down, leaving himself vulnerable, but there's going to be a quick reset here if they are able to hold them back. Going to have to wait a moment, though, before this next opportunity to get up to that high ground as they grab the Bastion. 100% worth as the self-destruct is committed to it as well. They are so hyper-focused onto Eternal on that Bastion play. Do not want to handle it or deal with it, as there's going to be 20 seconds remaining, as still it will be the defensive side of LGD going to switch now onto the Doomfist with the respawn advantage as the barrier comes out for BTRG. Doomfist now Eternal going to show and flex that number, but will be taken down by MZ on the Brigitte, stunned immediately. Nobody going to get there, barely making it in time, as it will be the Wrecking Ball last ditch effort to keep it going into the overtime, but no, that will be the secure on point B.
Well, there you go. You fall off the high ground, it's GG, right? Okay, that's how it works. Okay.
I mean, they were like, all right, so if there's anybody we are unloading everything on, it is Bastion. Let us do it. Grab, self-destruct, bash everything.
Oh dear Lord. 1 second. It's gonna make all the difference. I said that 1.5 minutes makes all the difference. You know what? 1 second makes all the difference. Actually means that it could potentially get a third attack if they should wish. They're gonna get 1 second to do it in. I'm not sure how that works, but 4 minutes 43 on the side of LGD Gaming. They've got to make this quick, essentially.
Yeah, they really do. They have to make it swift. And you know, with the composition too, again, they're gonna most likely, I think, on the defending side, they're not gonna want to waver from this. I don't think you're gonna see any of the Pharah play or anything like that. They're going to keep with it because they've been doing it consistently, and they haven't been playing badly with it. They've been playing, I feel, better. But because of LGE's variation with having Eternal wanting to, you know, demonstrate the ability to switch onto alternative characters, it's really giving some diversity to them and trying to, I guess, almost put BTRG on their back foot, having to wonder how they're going to come out and play this.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but it's still winnable. It's still 100% winnable here. But really, LGD Gaming, they have to make this a quick one if they want to be in this one at all.
On the high ground now, you see Rookie waiting to get some vision as they're going to make sure that they do have the composition that they want to move forward with. Again, 4 minutes and 25 seconds, a lot of time, as we said, as they're really just kind of buying their time. They're going to opt to go on to the Zarya play instead here, and keep that more traditional composition they played very confidently against BTRG moving forward, and going to look for the opportunity now on this front line with the nice engage, but needed to be careful of this high ground since they're still maintaining it very well from BTRG.
I like the switch on the Reinhardt as well, as the majority of the team staying nice and healthy, but Shou Cheng going down is disastrous for this composition. You use so much of your damage there.
And you see now there's so much damage trying to be thrown into the Winston, but not going to get the Discord. Now they're going to exploit their positioning immediately once they transition to the low ground. And I have to say, that was a good response here by BTRG.
It was a decent response. I think the reposition was good. I just think that, to be honest with you, LGD game probably would have done a lot better there if they had kept Shou Cheng on the Zarya. The main problem at the moment is the effort is 50% ahead of Shou Cheng, so it's absolutely going to get this Graviton before him, which is going to extend the time back by even more. So Rookie's going to be looking for this this Diva Matrix that they eat, but will he find it?
And they are so trying to generate this quickly, getting as much damage and protection out for that Graviton to be used. Earth Shatter, or correction, it will be the charge in the back with the self-destruct coming out, Transcendence. But the grab is going to be forced now from BTRG, trying to pull them in, getting a nice, decent amount of damage here onto the point, as it will be now the sound barrier coming out from LGD. Keeping it forward now, Pin in the back, able to get one. It will be that DMEC Diva taken away from this fight. And now the momentum, again, going to start going in favor. By the time they get it, it will be just under 3.5 minutes for them. So again, that's a lot of time, as it looks like they're going to actually have a switch here potentially.
No, they're just going to taxi.
Okay, I was going to say, yeah, taxi the back line. Didn't see that other one. But yeah, so they have got a lot going into this, and the grab, I think, is the biggest point here for them.
We don't have a self-stroke. Rookie had to use that last fight to pick up the kill onto Gudan. 2 supportive ultimates on the side of big time Regal Gaming. They absolutely cannot layer them together as they come into this one versus the Graviton. A May and a Doomfist. What a day. What a day.
And they're just going to look to try and run the clock right now, as the grab's going to come in the lower section, pulling them together. Can they exploit them? Going to have a difficult time with that Transcendence coming out once again here in the back, just causing so much problem.
Oh my
with
God.
That Graviton usage, but it will be effort with the Doomfist now doing quite a bit. Can they get the follow-up into the back line? Nobody really getting the engage onto him. The stun not available as they're dropping to the low ground, with the Primal Rage going to be forced as well. Almost getting the kill. There's the pick here onto Secret, taking down that Zenyatta player, as they're just getting a little staggered right now. They're having a difficult time. Sound barrier becoming active to try and survive through it, as the freeze will become active. Self-destruct on the low ground, able to prevent them from having that frontline Reinhardt tank, and now they're just starting to fall apart.
It's well played from Big Time Regal Gaming, actually. I like the positioning. I like where you have these switches off onto Doomfist and the Mei, who can operate pretty much solo, which really splits the attention of LGD Gaming. Who do they go for? It meant that they invested a lot more than they probably should have done, but they will be coming to the next fight with the Giganti combo, self-destruct, Graviton, Big Time Regal Gaming. They have nothing available, but they got to do this quickly, because Gudan will find the Transcendence very quickly in this fight if they give him opportunity to.
And Gudan's been doing a great job responding with that Transcendence, gaining a lot of value out of it, and gonna have it again so quickly. Now gonna use it here on the high ground, just sustaining through with the Blizzard. Gonna now start locking them down in this doorway. Can they get the follow-up damage? But Shou Cheng's actually gonna get the kill onto MZ, wanting to now fall back just slightly. Effort gonna reposition on the high ground. That armor's gonna dissipate though over time, as they still try to gain the opportunity with 1 minute and 10 seconds to go in the back. Now the Doomfist engage, looking for the bash, managing to get it, is gonna get stalled just slightly as they look to try and get some pressure into the back line, wanting to get the DMEC, managing to do so, as now they are looking to just swiftly pick them off one by one, gaining 1 tick, looking for the second, and they are wanting to get this third, but still going to get some stagger. Primal Rage going to be forced down. Nano Boost as well to try and give some additional timing here to buy some time. And again, this is the stall. The respawn advantage in favor, and that might just be able to give them enough here to keep this going as the supports are finally starting to trickle out in favor of BTRG.
There will be a Graviton led in the backline though with the Stealth Stroke. 33 seconds to 1 second. One big second. It's one big second, alright, okay?
Uno.
Uno humongous second. Alright. It could be large. We just don't know. Ooh, that
goodness.
1 minute to 1 minute 30. Spicy. Okay. There is potential.
Another take here, as we will have the interesting composition once again. I don't think they're going to go on to that far play. Not going to want to opt for it. They're going to keep this tank play. We will. I'm like you said though. I liked the Doomfist in the May play though. It was nice to see that on the defensive side they used it very well because their positioning was good. But once they got those initial picks in the back line, forced the reposition by effort to go to the outer flanking position. Doomfist wasn't in the fight for long enough to gain the harass and just put so much pressure onto the supports. They lost value in that, I feel.
Yeah. I don't know. LGD Gaming seems to commit some weird ultimates as well. That's big time Regal Gaming. They had a decent run of it, and I don't think they had to contest the high ground there because they placed themselves all in one area. Whereas their win condition, right, was the fact that LGD just didn't know how to focus. You gave LGD someone to focus, right, by placing yourself all up there. I think the main thing that's a bit worry for me is that Hoyochien investing that beat early on. I didn't get that, and to be fair, it could have gone really, really badly if in that last fight they had no beat and they absolutely had to sustain for a little bit longer, or they needed to keep Secret alive. So now big time Regal Gaming, they got to come back in and say, hopefully they can maybe abuse some of these cooldowns that LGD Gaming use so recklessly.
True. That would be definitely something that they need to try and exploit here, as they're only going to have now 40 seconds still remaining, as they do get the charge in the back. Not going to get the kill, though, as they do get a return knockdown with the bash, but MZ going to go down. That's going to be massive for the side of LGD on the defensive position. Early exchange, though, onto Chenchio by effort, but still numbers advantage in favor of LGD. Having a decent amount here for them to try and regroup. They may have one last opportunity for that member to join on this side. A lot of energy as well here generated by BTRG. For effort.
I mean, one of the biggest ultimates we're looking at here right now, Rich, is this Shadow coming out from Tanchio. He's been very, very successful with it before. Hopefully he can get dividends from it now. They will let him have one tick as they wait for Tanchio to get back to the fight. He has ended up here now. He's ready, he's available, but he's charging the wall.
Oh, and he's going to survive through it. A sliver of health remaining in the back as the Transcendence is now going to come out by big-time Regal Gaming, able to get so much opportunity onto this team of LGD, and they're going to most likely claim this here to gain 30 seconds after they get this point. And now they have the rally with an entire team kill, the Urge Shatter, the Self-Destruct, and the Sound Barrier with a Graviton to boot.
This is so snowballable. It is so much snowballable right now. A big time Regal Gaming, big time gaming bank. It's a big time gaming time bank, right? It's 1 second. It's the 1 second, all right?
And they're going to have that. Oh, the Earth Shatter, though, with the grab. Now going to have Self-Destruct from both sides with the Transcendence trying to survive through it, gaining 2 on the side of LGD. They just netted so much value from that. 8 seconds still to go. Now starting to trickle away. Not going to allow them to gain it, regardless of the ultimate advantage that we thought Big Time Gaming had. They tried to come in big, but they lost real hard there.
Yeah. Get them out of here. I mean, oh my god. How are you 4 to 5? This is incredible. 1 second as well. Oh my goodness. Well, it's your boys LGD Gaming's turn, all right? So that they gotta get a crack at it now. I don't even think there's any point going on to the Sombra here. Sure, you can scan it out. You may as well just go for the first fight.
Right.
Hopefully pick up some charge here towards some ultimates. And I think specifically Shocheng doing it is weird because then you really want your Zarya to be accruing charge earlier on. I don't know, man. It's odd. It seems odd to me.
I mean, it's true. I mean, if they really wanted to try and, acclimate their time and know that they've got the 30 extra seconds compared to what the opposers had, it's one of those things where it's like, you might as well use it, but I agree with you very much that it would be better well spent to make the decision early to generate that extra charge, which could mean, a victory in a fight or not moving forward, or just keeping your team alive in an engage that may ensue. So it'll be interesting to see that they're really just going to not opt to do that and want to just get some vision, because I'm surprised that they would think that BTRG would switch off of this, what they've played multiple times now on it.
Yeah, I don't know. We scout anyway, right? We are the Rangers. We are the Rangers of Overwatch. We must scout the enemy team.
Totally must do
Secret
it.
getting, yeah, Secret getting a nice little bit of an ultimate charge there. They will make the switch. Eternal going to go over the Pharah now. Shou Cheng most likely going to stay on this Sombra, which is fine. Translocator goes up off to the left side, but they are gatekeeping it hardcore.
Yeah, they really are managing these ports very well with that far play coming out by Eternal. But again, the reposition so quickly, getting a lot of damage in the back since you do see BTRG separated here and trying to fall back onto this point. Going to rain a lot of damage and not netting that ultimate as quickly as we've seen Eternal do before. Just they're not being able to get it sidelined. They really are.
Shou Cheng now in the front lines has to back out. Nowhere near his own health pack though, sadly. LGD holding on desperately. Big time Regal Gaming on the point. Effort finding Hoyo Chien is absolutely catastrophic. Now Eternal has no healing. Sure, he can get a Orb of Harmony in the sky, but the rest of his team is going to be pretty sad. They want some band-aids. They want some fast.
And you see Sombra extremely low in the back. They're trying to get the opportunity to contest again, but they've got 20 seconds. Eternal now on the Pharah. They get the pick, though. That's going to be a decent advantage now. Here comes the Rockets underneath. Micro Rockets by Rookie doing a great job to eliminate that tank on the front. Effort not going to be able to survive, and they're going to be able to do it with these last few seconds. And now we see the same return effort coming by LGD as they're really going to have 30 seconds trying to use the momentum, having 2 ultimates moving forward, and soon to have potentially 3 with the Transcendence. But the
why?
And they're unloading the ultimates now very early as they are trying to secure this point. Only gonna have now the 2. It will be the self-destruct of the Transcendence. They are gonna try and hurry to get the Valkyrie as Eternal is gonna look to switch. Most likely here, jumping back.
Why?
Eternal.
Why have you done this?
Eternal, I don't know. We saw them go back to there, but it doesn't look like they're going to change. They actually might opt to just keep it. In the back line, having that self-destruct as well, as they're going to try and maintain the high ground for BTRG.
BTRG actually might win this now. Oh my god. Effort, why?
Oh, the stagger is going to be real. They're going to push in the back a few seconds now, keeping into the overtime. The self-destruct of the Transcendence coming out from both sides as they now have the Lucio jumping onto the point to try and keep it going. Now with the rally in addition on the side of BTRG, Pharah still raining a lot of rockets overhead with the self-destruct high in addition to get 1. It will take out MZ as the overtime still commences. 4 versus 3 on the point now in favor of BTRG, but they're going to get thrown away by Tenshio with the primal rage. Self-destruct now unleashed on the high ground, trying to see if they can get a pick, managing to do so. Rookie going to go down as it will be LGD on this attack, starting to fall short here. The respawn's coming in favor of BTRG as they slowly regain, but the EMP comes out trying to get some healing in the back by the Mercy. The res gonna come out though. That's gonna keep them in their numbers advantage, trying to sustain through it as it will still be 4 versus 1. It will be the Graviton now with the Rocket Barrage doing so much damage to this team as the Transcendence once again is gonna come out not only from LGD but also from BTRG as they are holding still with just this consistent stagger. They are unable to get out to this point quickly with the respawn advantage as they just try to buy as much time here as possible as the primal range is going to come out in addition.
Pancho is going to have the primal rage now, dropping everyone back as fast as possible. But the Brigida surviving for so long. MZ's still up. It's 2 members on the point. Shou Cheng gets back on the Reinhardt. Does eat the orb, but I don't think it's enough.
It's trying to see if they can get into the back. Rookie all alone, seeing if they can hold it. Gonna get the D-Mag. Now they're gonna have the Tracer to try and get back. One last-ditch effort after another, as it's going to be BTRG finally isolating LGD with the opportunity to make it a 3-0 map choice, but going to now come into a draw.
I don't know, dude. That's... There were a lot of things happening there, a lot of mistakes that happened. I don't understand why you had to invest the EMP barrage, right? You had control of the point. It's fine. You snowball with that coming into the second. Effort dies next. That's such a crucial mistake coming out from BTRG. I don't know. I think we got to go to a break, man. We got to go to a break.
I mean, that's going to be definitely one of those things where we will have to take a moment to even reevaluate ourselves as the casters. So yes, indeed, we will go to a break here before entering that 4th and final match to see how it'll shape up here between these two. So we'll be back in just a moment.
never walked away. And parts of me believe that I should have seen it coming. I wish we had another day.